What is up, YouTube? Bobbles and Ball Cards back with another video. Uh, I didn't know whether or not I was going to do this video. Obviously, back from the National, been trying to give my thoughts on that and share my pickups and that sort of thing. But there is an elephant in the room, and that is when is pricing going to change with SGC? And as someone who for 2.5 years now has been highly, open discussions, discussing a ton about SGC. Obviously, we do group submissions and everything for them, and I try to share information, opinions, all of that as much as possible regarding SGC as often as possible. So, for probably the past couple months, I would say now, it's been asked, are the prices going to change? PSA's opening service levels, CSG's knocked their backlog out. They're on a track now, really getting people's cards back. BGS is starting to adjust some of the things they were doing. They got their backlog cleared out. So people have been asking, is there going to be any adjustment? And so far, the only thing we've seen, which it's not a bad thing, but the only thing we've seen is that SGC has gotten quicker and quicker and quicker on the turnaround time, which maybe that's what their goal was, is to try to pull in and keep the demand rolling because of being able to, appeal to folks that want to send cards and have them back in hand the same week. And that's all good and fine. But if there's one thing in this hobby, and this is even me personally, one of the choices I made back when I first started grading with SGC, I tried PSA out. They were the cheapest of the bunch. Now, folks may not know that. PSA was the cheapest option. It was not other people were getting cards because they were cheaper than PSA. PSA was actually the cheapest option for bulk submission. I tried them. I did not like their service. You had BGS and you had SGC. BGS prices were pretty expensive. SGC was just above PSA, and I preferred their holder. So even I myself can speak on the hobby and the consumer within the hobby for grading is going to usually, pick the company that's giving the best service at the best price. Now, doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the cheapest price, but people want at least something competitive. Right now, what we are seeing, and I'm going to show this first, the gem rate information. In June, right here, the month of June, SGC did 100,000 cards. It says, and this says graded 100,000, and then over here for the month of July, it says they graded 54,000. So obviously, that's easy math. A 46% discount or decrease. If you look here, CSG also decreased. If they went up 12% here, but then they went right back down to 13%. So really, if you go to May, was that 157,000? So really, CSG kind of just went back to their May number, and they didn't really fall off a ton. If you really look at that, sure, this month to month looks like they dropped, but in reality, right here, they were about the same. PSA went up. The key with PSA is most of their numbers have been because the cards, they had a backlog sitting there. Those cards graded. They were already in the building. It's not necessarily an exact demand indicator because those cards were already in-house, so it helped their numbers a bit. The other companies, obviously Beckett doesn't have any numbers to report this month, but the other companies, their numbers are being based on how much demand is being driven into them. Now, even if you look here, which I think the 68,000 would be the sports card side, Even if you look here, that number is higher than SGC, whereas over here, the number was lower for CSG than SGC. So there's definitely something going on here. Now, Neo did a video, I did watch it, but more importantly, I was reading comments, and folks are really high. Even in his title here, you see PSA puts pressure on SGC, CSG, and Beckett with the $18 price point. That could be some of it, but if you cross this out and just ignore the PSA number, what is more concerning to me, and what shows that there definitely needs to be a change of some sort, is this. The fact that CSG now passed SGC at 54K and 68K, whereas here it was 100K and 85K. That's more alarming to me than this here. Like, this, I'm not worried about. I don't expect SGC to overtake and grade 1 million cards a month like PSA does. But what I do, have concern with is if they're not even holding on to the number 2 spot is in terms of demand. Now, I don't know much about how the GemRate pulls their data. There could be things going into this. I'm not saying that it's inaccurate. I'm just saying I don't know the full details of how the data is pulled. When are they pulled as soon as the card's hitting pop report? Are they, I don't know how exactly they're pulling the data. Just put it that way. But I am saying right here, this is concerning. You go over here to Neo's video, you read the comments, and you're seeing, talking. It's basically all about PSA and their price change and how, the other companies need to change prices. There was speculations in this video of CSG purchasing SGC. That would be a little odd to me because I don't know if folks just don't realize this or what, but SGC once was owned by CSG, so I don't know why they would need to repurchase them. They're both they're both located in Florida, so I don't know what benefit that would have for CSG to buy out a company that's right there in the same state, especially if they're able to meet the demand that they already are. So I don't understand that speculation. The companies used to be owned. Like, SGC was owned by, what is a certified collectible group or something like that. So that speculation is kind of interesting to me. But anyway, so reading some of these comments, the consensus is that it's the PSA $18 little, monthly special or whatever drew more demand over rather than people sending the cards to SGC. So I am not going to debate one way or the other if that's the case. What I do want to talk about is a few things I didn't see in here. And number one, and I know for myself, being a group submitter, the demand for grading was a little bit down. You had people going to the national. A lot of folks from my group went to the national. And, I talked to a lot of people who grade cards. Demand was down a bit because people wanted to save money, whether for travel or to go to the show or whatever. So they weren't sending cards in. They held off. Okay? They did not send as many cards, or they didn't send cards at all. Truthfully, I didn't send cards in July. I wanted to save the funds for the show, travel, etc. So that's probably part of it. Now, I have always been on the side of the fence saying there's no reason for SGC to lower price. They're getting demand. Things are going smoothly. I am now going to have to jump over on the other side of the fence, because when I was on the one side of the fence, it was when they were pretty much the only machine churning out cards. And now we do have 4 companies in the mix that are all going to be churning cards. Also, just as someone who loves using SGC, Peter, I don't know if you guys watch this, but to be honest with you, I don't need, like somebody says in this, in here, I don't know where the comment was. Right here, this guy. Another thing I've noticed is that many people, including myself, use SGC for PC. So I am one of those. I have 600 or 700, I don't know what my total count is right now, slabs in my collection. I like sending my Griffies in. I like, my Sotos, that sort of thing. I like sending my cards in to have them in the slab for display purposes, what have you. And to be truthful with you, I don't want you to keep them for 18 months, but I also don't need them back necessarily in 48 hours. So when there's other options out there, I can see people saying, well, even as a bulk submitter, my best option with SGC is $23 a card. When you have, let's again exclude PSA because people are going to argue the resale value. But there's folks that don't want to use PSA, like myself. I do not want to use PSA no matter what. So let's just simply cross PSA out as an option, and then we're on a level playing field more so with CSG, SGC, BGS. All of whom, they might differ here and there with price point, but you're going to have similar resale values. You're going to have similar, between, I'm assuming BGS and CSG are pretty close on turnarounds. I don't know. Me personally, on my PC stuff, I don't need it back right away. Okay? So, Peter's argument before was, well, I have to watch the demand to ensure that we don't get the backlog. He got bit in the ass in 2020 when the demand came in, they couldn't keep up, they got a backlog. He didn't like that. I really appreciate his passion for making sure the cards get back to the people. However, I do not feel the need in a 2 to 3 day return time. I think majority of the customers out there would be perfectly happy with a 2 to 3 week turnaround time. That's favorable, So, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the majority does want the 2 to 3. I know people that I talk to. They are impressed when they see a card gets, checked in, and I tell them, hey, the order's done, it's on its way back, and they're like, holy shit, it hasn't even been a week. They're impressed by it. But the reality is, no one expects that, right? So that's one thing to think about there. I think they could adjust to take on more demand. But then, as Neo mentions in his video, and then he replies to some people in comments, and he says, well, we don't see the books. Maybe taking 54,000 cards at, the bulk rate up to $30 or what have you is more profitable for them. Maybe so. I don't know exactly what the math comes out to, after payroll and everything else. And then I did try to play around with some numbers in my head. There is ways to make a little bit more on profit margins basing off of the same number, except for the fact you have to basically double the intake. And maybe they don't want that. Now, that hurts us in a sense because when we look at the price and the cost, it's higher, but for them, it's more profitable. Maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know. I can't speak on that. However, I am going to say, as a bulk submitter, as an SGC supporter for the past 2.5 years, I do feel that it is time for a price decrease. And I don't mean another $2 bulk rate decrease when we were at $25 to $23. I personally feel, and I know if you are getting cards done in 2 days right now, that there should be able to be capable enough to have a price decrease in the range to set a target value, a price range in the $12 to $15 range. I think this would help the company. I think it would help the demand. I think it would help us as consumers, as collectors. I think Peter would be praised for that. I also think that he had made mention before that they're the company that's decreasing prices. Others are increasing, this and that. But yet, Now they are the company that hasn't been making the change. I thought for certain when CSG upped their price from $12 bulk to $15 bulk that SGC was going to counteract that. They were going to come in with a price change. I knew an update was coming. I thought for sure it was going to be a price decrease. And twice I was shocked that that was not mentioned. I'm going to share some videos I did. Right here was, well, actually, we'll go over to this one. January 25th, 2022 is when I did a video on a price decrease for bulk submissions when we went from $25 a card down to $23 a card. It's also when they tried out the 10-day and 5-day service levels, etc. That was going on, what is that? That was over 6 months ago. That's the last time any price change has been made. And it was a $2 decrease on bulk submissions. The community reacted very well. The demand picked up off of a $2 decrease. Keep that in mind. I'm going to go to this video, which was from May 9th of 2021. So we are looking at we're in August. That was May. So that's going on 15 months ago when they changed the price and Peter put this statement out, $30 per card. The company has been at the same price level without bulk submissions for 15 months now. There has been no price change. Other companies are decreasing prices. The backlogs are clearing. It's been 6 months since we had a decrease of $2 on group submissions. I don't know inside the company. I don't know all of the financials. I'm telling you though, Peter, if you're watching, the optics are right now is people don't really care as much about the 24 to 48 hour turnaround. They want to save some money. They have stacks and stacks of cards that they want to grade, but it has to be the appropriate price to grade them. I think you could pull a very big portion of the fan base back in. I think you could get the demand back up. I think this is the time now to say we are SGC, and the work we've put in over the past 2 years wasn't all for nothing. Keep the train rolling, and go on and read the comments. Listen to the people. Folks are wanting a price change. So that's all I have. I want to keep it real. I love the guys down there. I met them at the show, had good conversations with them. They know I support and back them 100%, but I also have to keep it real, and I do feel it's time to change the price. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe if you haven't. And as always, folks, hope everybody out there is doing well. I had heard a lot of talk from folks from the National, so pray you all are doing well. But stay safe, stay healthy, and until the next video, I'm out.